Greetings, my chess friends. We're going to look into candidate moves. Which one is the right one? I guess that's the perennial question for any chess player. What move should I play? Especially becomes challenging when you've got 2, 3, 4 options. The more options, the more time consuming, and you still need to exert the same accuracy when deciding this. For instance, I'm going to move through a couple of scenarios and we're going to be discussing them. Hopefully, they will be bring about more clarity for your choices. So in the current position here, obviously you've got to take the white rook back because your black king is in check, right? You've got to do something about this. Question being here, do you take with the queen or do you take with the bishop? Which one is it? Now, let's take them, one by one. That's what you're going to do actually in your over-the-board or online games. You're going to just have them to just judge them one after another. So what happens if you take with the queen? Well, a couple of things. So you take the rook back with the queen, which might be sort of appealing, but if you just take it one step further and notice the knight could take on d5, would attack on c7 fork, would attack on f6, it really doesn't do very good for black here. So taking with the queen all of a sudden is no longer appealing. Therefore, you think about, what about bishop e8? Yeah, I know you move the bishop on the back rank and stuff, but you offer protection for the d5. And if bishop takes, you're going to take back with the bishop, take very much, and everything is playable. That is cool. Position is nice. Keep playing equal. All right, the next one, guys. So we're going to move to another tutorial. Ooh, I like this one. First thing first, we need to understand what is the threat. What does my opponent want to do? That's, again, another question you need to ask yourselves. Every single time your opponent makes a move, you need to inquire within yourselves. What is he planning? What is he cooking? And you're going to notice the knight and the queen. They go for this. This is getting serious. So you need to react. You need to stop. And now the so-called challenge here would be that you've got, let's say, 3 big options here. You go with the g3, you go with the h3 if you're afraid to lose the pawn, but that's not the main threat, or you're going f4. Okay, so there's only one good move you should be playing here. Now, let's take on step by step. If you go into h3, you're losing. You're losing. Okay, queen's gonna go h2, you go f1, queen goes h1, you moving up, fine, queen grabs here, attacking f2, you're getting in serious trouble, your king will get exposed and further checks and you're going to get checkmated. If you do g3, might be looking attractive, but you're losing the line squares. Actually, let me just make, by the way, that's a bad move. So let's say you're playing g3, just if you consider knight to e5 and the f3 forking here, king and queen. And if you want to throw in the bishop as well, it's very problematic. So you mustn't go with g3. Therefore, although it's weakening a little bit the king side, definitely f4 is the move to go. So you want to go with f4 here. You're blocking the queen, attacking h2. You're going to be kicking that knight away sooner or later, and they will be moving away. Yes, e3 is a backward weak pawn, but you got enough resources. You have built up your own threats. It's looking good. Okay, this one here, another interesting situation. What should I take back with? With the E or with a knight? And what's the difference in between them? Well, let's take them one by one. You take with the knight here. This is the better option here, all right? Your knight threatens the b6, attacks the e7. This is an outpost and can't be challenged by any pawn. All right, so when the knight can't be attacked by other pawns, you call this square an outpost. It safely stays and creating threats and relaunching for other possible targets. I've just highlighted here and it looks absolutely great. That's not a problem. Also, if you want to throw in some rook on d, this is just getting better and better and you build up on this. But if we're looking at the e taking here, that's not that great because black is responding with f5 and these guys are really scary. They're coming down, attacking the e3, the f3. It just doesn't look good. You need to start now planning, oh, where do I move? If they do this, what do I do? Do I go back on d2, on c1 where I was? So that's not looking good. So you're going to be, guys, judging this clearly, and hopefully you're going to be opting for knight takes d5. Okay, so let's go back now to the next tutorial, guys. We're doing good, I think. I'll try to just keep the bare minimum explanation, but good enough for you guys to actually understand the difference in between the moves. This one now here, you obviously need to take the piece back because they just took a piece from you, right? So question would be now, do I take with the knight or do I take with the pawn? Which one is it, right? Now, let's take them, one by one. Now, if you take with the b on c3 here, you're creating a weakness. This pawn on c3, which is currently defended by the knight, but for how long? And theoretically, any rook would be always attacking on the c file, and that guy would be a forever weakness. It just doesn't look good at all. Whereas if you take and practically it allows counterplay, I mean, you're taking here, what if they reply then with moves like this? I mean, it's just they creating counterplay. I just don't like it. I don't want to do, I don't want to give black chances for counterplay. All right, so I'd rather take with the knight, preserving my pawns, defending, shielding the white king. All right, and my knight attacks on e4, and it's looking good. Now, if they capture, my bishop can take, king takes. It's great. I've got the rook here where the king would be if this will be to be exchanged. So definitely that's the better choice here. You got a beautiful bishop for now, although they might be changing it. But if they do so, remember to take with the h so that you can keep the h open for the rook. And also your f2 pawn will be stopping this guy from coming down in case you haven't captured that pawn for in that particular moment. This one here, it's a little bit trickier because you, as the self-preservation instinct dictates, you need to run away from the perceived danger. So now you would say, oh boy, I'm not going to go on h3 under no circumstance. I'm going to be running away. But that comes with a big shock and problem, because when you do the g5, they continue with this. It's just not looking good. Not mentioning this guy is just hanging, and after you get checked, you gotta move away. They grabbing your guy. Yes, you do pin the rook, but you're gonna get checked a million times, and they're gonna be a saving face with this pin here. You're not gonna make it with pushing the pawn because you've just lost this guy with tempo. All right, so king to g5, although instinctively might look workable, it's not. And the better choice is definitely h3. And if you play this one cool and decently, you should be able to be drawing down the line, because you're going to be losing this guy anyway, but at least you're not getting checked, and then you can come up with this kind of idea that we've just mentioned here. And then you're going to take this guy, and again, it should be a draw. I hope you're not going to have a couple of seconds on the clock, because you might get very hairy. The next one here, guys, which one do you think we should be taking with here? Beautiful exercise here. Do I take with a bishop? I've got two candidate moves. Or do I take with a queen? Well, we got to take them again step by step. So if we take with the bishop here, what do you think would be the most vicious attack of your opponents? And you might have noticed there is something like queen to a5. And when they do queen to a5, they actually check your king, and they also hit your bishop. So if you think about, oh, I'm going to block with the bishop, that's not okay, because you're just going to drop this guy. You're going to lose it. It's not working. So definitely you don't allow counterplay. You take with a queen. You've got a checkmate threat. You're challenging the queen. If queen takes, bishop takes, you continue normally. Sweet, equal position, balanced. That is cool. You're going to aim to castle. You're going to develop. Go for the equal game. So that's cool. Queen takes on d5 indeed. They take, obviously. You're going to take back. Again, nice and decent and balanced. The next one, my friends. This exercise, it's good to try to remember it, because there are moments which requires you to sit down, look accurately, and decide the correct direction here. You would say instinctively that, I'm going to go b5, I'm going to take this guy, I'm going to step aside, I'm going to take this pawn. Yeah, well, maybe how many tempi you need for that? So that is why the chess master, the grandmaster, they sit down and just simply calculate using an amount of time. So let's look at this. You got to visualize this in your mind, of course, like we all do during the live games. King to b5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 tempi. 8 turns. That's quite a lot. How many tempi does my opponent need to get rid of this h2 pawn and pushing for promotion? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oopsie. They're going to get a queen before me. Therefore, they will be able to stopping the pawn that I aim to promote. It's not going to work. You taking a4 and pushing for promotion. This guy going to be faster than you. So what do? Well, it's got to be another plan. And the plan is, I know it looks crazy, but actually you would be able to pushing the king and making opposition. Once they grab your guy here, you're going to make opposition all the time and go for the perennial blockade here. So nothing's going to happen. They go towards the pawn, you follow. They go towards the pawn, you follow. They take your guy, which makes sense, and now you play f2. That means the black king can't move to making space for this guy to moving down the board and promote. And even if they push the pawn down, you're going to play yourself king f1. Again, no other moves available. It's got to be stalemate or repetition here. So I hope you guys got this one correctly with king f1 and you're not losing and you're drawing. That's cool. Cool enough. Okay, guys, what is the threat? We need to identify the danger first, and then we act in consequence of our understanding. The threat is knight corroborating with the queen for delivering checkmate on g2. We've got to stop this from happening. So you always need to ask, what am I supposed to do? What's their intent and how do I react? How do I respond to this? Because reaction is a bit more like a knee-jerk, you just go with the instinct, which may or may not be correct in many cases. But in this position now, you've got to look at the alternatives. What have I got in here to do? Well, you could play g3, but if you remember what we said on a couple of occasions, when you play this kind of things, you are weakening the light square surrounding the king. So g3 doesn't feel incredibly okay. Yeah, you do attack the knight, sure. But, you sort of give up on the light squares. I don't like it. That's not the thing to do. And of course, moving the king away is a disaster because checkmate is coming. So explore some other alternatives. Well, I can't play the queen this because knight takes me, but I can sure as hell I could go queen to c6 here defending. And if they attack your rook, that is fine. I'm going to play queen f3. If they take, I'm going to take anyway, regardless. I'm still happy with the current position because my bishop on b6 covers the d8. He can't play the rook here, therefore the d file belongs to me. The other rook on e1 still pressurizes the e5. It's great as long as you understand that actually queen g2 is the move to go to here. Thanks for watching this video, guys. Subscribe this channel, share it with family and friends, fellas, and see you on the live screen, on the live stream, or on the next chess video. Thank you very much.